let's check out this video, A Brief History of Metal from Pitchfork. And I gotta say, I am skeptical, because if there is one thing that I do not trust Pitchfork with, it's talking about metal or hardcore or anything like that. Highly skeptical of this, but we'll check it out. I gotta say, I've been a Pitchfork hater for a very long time, starting with, I think maybe back in 2004 or 2005 was the first and last time that I ever looked at Pitchfork. I opened it up. I said, everyone's talking about this website called Pitchfork. It sounded cool, right? I mean, it sounded like it was metal, maybe. I opened up pitchfork.com and I searched for my favorite band at the time, 18 Visions. They had nothing about 18 Visions, and I said, this site is bullshit. I'm out of here. Pitchfork.com sucks. You guys don't care about 18 Visions, and therefore, I do not care about you. That was my first and last experience with Pitchfork.com. Because if you're not down with 18 Visions, I'm not down with you. But I'm willing to give them a second chance. So we'll check out A Brief History of Metal from Pitchfork. Highly skeptical. If this doesn't include the meat shits and cock and ball torture, I'm demanding a refund. Well, let's check it out. And really quick, before we go any further, have you checked out my Patreon? Patrons get early access to all my main channel videos and my podcasts. I also do giveaways sometimes. For example, I just gave away a pair of these Eargasm earplugs. And if you want me to review your music, there's a way to do that as well. All you gotta do is join at the $10 and up level. Then every month I do a call for submissions. If you want me to review something, all you gotta do is drop it in the comments of that post. Then I will review it live on Twitch and post it on Patreon for everyone to see. So if that sounds cool, hit the link in the description of this video, and I appreciate your support.
Okay, ready.
I'm ready.
Ice-blasted expanses of the Hyperborean wastelands, heavy metal was forged from unrelenting.
Okay, so it starts off with a tired second wave black metal joke, because these type of people are always fascinated with second wave black metal. I already hate this, I think. Well, let's check it out.
Brutality, the blackest dark and the purest hatred the human mind can conceive.
Okay.
A brief history of metal.
This is for indie people who want to have a 3-month black metal phase because they saw Lords of Chaos and they decided they were really into Norwegian black metal. And so they listened to Dark Throne for 2.5 minutes on Spotify and read a bunch of articles about shit that happened in the 90s.
Metal music basically started in the late 60s, when hippie acid rock bands began cranking their amps up and stripping away psychedelic flourishes to make their music leaner and more physically punishing. While initially grouped with heavy blues bands like Cream and Led Zeppelin, within a few years it was apparent that groups like Blue Cheer, Vanilla Fudge, and Leafhound.
Okay, so Blue Cheer, Vanilla Fudge, and Leafhound are credited as the beginning of metal. All right, I wouldn't disagree. Sounds about right, but you know, very entry-level stuff.
But if you want to point to one particular album as the
do like the animation.
Metal, it would be the 1970s self-titled release by Birmingham, England's mighty Black Sabbath, where the band's odes to weed, the occult, and their hometown's grim industrial atmosphere crystallize the emerging genre's aims.
True, fair enough. You gotta say that Black Sabbath is the beginning of metal. No two ways about that. That is a fact.
Sabbath fucking rules.
Still, even in its early years, the umbrella term heavy metal encompassed a remarkably diverse range of sounds and styles. Bands like Deep Purple and Mountain stayed relatively faithful to acid rock's blues-based formula, while Motorhead and Budgie played stripped-down, high-speed rock that predicted the punk revolution still a few years away.
The punk revolution. Okay. Well, we're 1 minute and 22 seconds in, and I haven't heard anything about the meat shits yet. I'm disappointed.
The term heavy metal was thrown around so much that it was even applied to Kiss, a band that mostly played glam, pop, and disco.
Kiss was never metal.
It's true. Kiss is not metal. Kiss looks metal. How many of you were deceived by Kiss? I know I was. How many of you were deceived by Kiss because you saw, you know, the guys spitting blood and dressed like demons and all that stuff? You saw the pictures of them. You saw the cover art. You're like, this is going to be gnarly. And then you press play on it and you're like, what the hell is, like, what am I listening to? What is this? And the Grateful Dead, that's right. Or Molly Hatchet. I thought this was going to be so brutal. I thought for sure this was going to sound like Carcass or Sepultura or something like that. Definitely does not. Definitely does not sound like that. Marillion was another one of these bands where I saw this And I was expecting this to be some kind of like thrash, like Mordred or something like that. Definitely not. Definitely not that. Very disappointed when I heard Marillion.
Metal existed largely outside of the mainstream. That changed when metal emerged as the de facto sound for rock in the 80s. Metal's rise had two main causes. The new wave of British heavy metal bands like Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, and Def Leppard, who figured out how to make metal slicker and more radio.
You know, people put Def Leppard in the new wave of British heavy metal thing, and I mean, I guess that's true. I think of them more as almost more like hair metal, though, because to me, Def Leppard is like, pour some sugar on me, right? I mean, I guess maybe they're around at the same time as Judas Priest and Iron Maiden, but I wouldn't really put them in that category, but I don't know. Whatever. Splitting hairs. I don't know. Pour Some Sugar on Me, though. Great song. Love it.
And Van Halen, who pushed it all the way over into pop.
Van Halen was never fucking metal.
Together, Van Halen and the new wave.
So is this Dementor here? Maybe this Dementor represents all the metal nerds like me. They're going to be arguing about this in the comments. And guess what? Here's the plot twist. I am the biggest metal elitist of all time. It's true. I'm the real metal nerd.
Wave of British heavy metal inspired one of the most profitable styles in rock history.
Profitable.
Epitomized by Guns N' Roses, the Sunset Strip glam metal sound.
That's right. This is correct. I don't know why. Every time I refer to Guns N' Roses as hair metal or glam metal, people get so angry at me. But it's a fact. They were like the biggest band in hair metal. Maybe Motley Crue and then Guns N' Roses, whatever. Like, Guns N' Roses were the epitome of that. I have no idea why people now don't want to associate them with hair metal. They were like the definitive, like, Sunset Strip hair metal band. I don't know. They're great. I love Guns N' Roses. I just don't really know why people are so resistant to putting them into the hair metal bucket. I don't know.
Aim for maximum accessibility while maintaining at least a surface level veneer of occultism and sexual transgression.
Gross. While those posers were making records for normals, real metal lurked in the murky depths of the underground.
That's right.
Their dark elder gods.
Here comes the real metal lurking in the underground.
Like Venom, Merciful Fate, Celtic Frost, and Bathory forged a template.
Okay, yeah, I mean, first wave of black metal. Well, Celtic Frost isn't really black metal, but Venom, Bathory, and Merciful Fate. 80s underground legends. But that's right. This is the question I've been asking myself. Where's MGK? Everybody knows MGK created metal. MGK walked so that Venom, Bathory, and Merciful Fate could run. This video is bullshit. I haven't heard anything about MGK yet. Clearly, they don't know anything about metal.
Genres like death metal, black metal,
Metal God
thrash
Kelly.
Metal, child of metal, and
That's
hardcore,
MGK.
which would define the underground scene throughout the 80s. And we cannot forget the almighty Slayer, who reign in blood to this day and forever.
It's true. It's true. Put some respect on Slayer's name. Obviously, everybody loves Slayer, but I gotta say, I think Slayer is underrated. I do. You hear much more about Metallica and Megadeth these days, and I think it's bullshit. Slayer, in my opinion, is by far the best thrash band of all time. Certainly the best thrash band of the big four. And I feel like even though everybody knows Slayer, like I feel like people don't actually listen to Slayer. And it's fucked up. It's fucked up. If you don't listen to Slayer, if you are not listening to Slayer right now, you are a poser. End of story. That's just a fact. Everybody who's not listening to Slayer at this moment is kicked out of the scene for being a fucking poser. Real headbangers only. Real headbangers are listening to Slayer right now. Everybody else, fake headbanger.
But by the early 90s, thrash's four big bands, Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, and Anthrax, had attained arena-filling status.
During the 90s, metal branched out into a seemingly endless number of subgenres. From deep underground styles like death grind and symphonic metal to the multi-platinum hip-hop.
Of course they have to put Neurosis in there, of course. Well, how does it feel? The guy from Neurosis quit music after confessing that he had abused his wife and kids for years. How does it feel, Pitchfork, to know that you just vouched for this man who's been canceled? Huh? Well, I didn't know that he was doing all that stuff, but I did know that Neurosis sucks, and they're boring as shit. I have known that Neurosis sucked for 30 years. They're not amazing. Neurosis is the most boring goddamn band I've ever heard.
Symphonic metal to the multi-platinum hip-hop informed style termed nu metal, which would give the
Here we
form its
go.
last bit of high-rotation MTV dominance. But there,
Of course, Pitchfork, come on, Pitchfork taking shots at Fred Durst. This video is from 2018. Pitchfork, you didn't know that nu metal is cool now? Come on, bro. Come on. Didn't you know nu metal is cool now? Nobody hates Limp Bizkit anymore. You're out of the loop. Hipsters. Neurosis is the perfect example of what me and my friends call door guy metal, aka a dude with Kylesa and Mastodon patches on his cheap vest. Door guy metal, 100% correct. Neurosis is the ultimate door guy metal.
sticks out for its extreme sound and even more extreme lifestyle. Norwegian black.
AKA vest metal, yes. Oh, and of course they've got to talk about black metal. Are you going to tell me they're not going to talk about death metal? Are you going to tell me these goddamn hipsters are going to fucking jerk off over second wave black metal and they're not going to talk about death metal? Please. If they talk about fucking Mayhem before they talk about Morbid Angel, I am going to throw my fucking computer out the door. Where the fuck is
True cult
Deicide?
black
That's right.
metal, forged in the shadowy lands of the frostbitten north and constructed in blood and fire.
Despite its severe
Okay.
aesthetic and often problematic political identity, black metal emerged as one of the defining sounds of the era, during which metal retreated back underground. Along the way, it crossbred with styles across the metal spectrum. And
Why are these people so fascinated with black metal? Why? I mean, I know why, because they don't actually care about the sound. They just care about the fact that somebody made a cool movie about it and there's so many edgy stories and blah, blah, blah.
beyond, creating subgenres like black and death metal, black and
You're right,
sludge,
because
and
of
black
Death
and
Heaven.
roll.
That's why. Because these fucking posers. You're telling me we're talking about Midnight and not one goddamn mention of Sepultura, Deicide, Morbid Angel, or Obituary? Really? Is that what you're telling me? Don't make me unleash my inner metal elitist. I'll do it. I'll do it. Don't make me prove that I am the ultimate metal elitist, because I am. It's the truth. You think just because I dress like this that I'm not the ultimate death metal elitist? I am. I promise you. Don't make me do it.
It even found its way into indie rock thanks to so-called post-metal bands like Death Heaven.
Oh, of course. Of course they tell us about Death Heaven without ever fucking mentioning once Morbid Angel, Deicide, Obituary, Entombed, At the Gates. Really? Ah, this video is everything I knew it would be. Goddamn hipsters. Listen, guys, we gotta ban them. That's what we have to do. You know that I've ranted many times over the years about how awful gatekeepers are. I think this video is making me reconsider that. I think I was wrong. Gatekeeping is not only acceptable, it's vital. It's necessary. And the reason why is because people like this have to be kept out of metal. If we don't gatekeep, then people like this who listen to Death Heaven instead of Morbid Angel are going to get into the scene. And we just, I can't let that happen. As a lifelong metal elitist, I can't let that happen. I don't consider myself a hero. I'm just a guy doing his job, keeping posers and hipsters who listen to Death Heaven out of the scene.
Along with black metal, doom metal has become one of the defining sounds of the new millennium. Interestingly, Doom's glacial riffage and obsession with
Doom?
the occult bear a strong resemblance
Who the
to
fuck
some of
listens to
metal's earliest
Doom?
bands.
Like Ouroboros, the eternally self-eating snake, metal is both creation and destruction contained in perfect unity.
Come on, man.
Time is only an illusion.
Real, like, literally not one mention of death metal in this entire video. Really? How? How? I'm here to ride for death metal. Metal is death. Death is metal. Death metal is the superior genre of metal. It's a fact. Everybody knows it. And if you don't know it, you should know it. Death metal is the ultimate genre of metal. It's a fact. Anybody who doesn't acknowledge that is a poser.
Metal is everything.
And that's it.
That's it. That's the end. We're 4.5 minutes into this. Not once has he talked about technical brutal death metal or brutal technical death metal. That's how you know this video is bullshit. This fucking loser probably can't even tell you the difference between brutal technical death metal and technical brutal death metal. I'm furious.
Get out of here! Uh-oh.
What the fuck? I wish I could say I'm disappointed, but I'm not disappointed because this is exactly what I was expecting from fucking Pitchfork. Exactly what I expected. I will say, shout out to Jordan Cole. Some very good animation. I like it. Great illustrations, great animation, very clever, good edit. Shout out to Jordan Cole. Whoever wrote this, though, not with it. Trash. Listen, my friends, if you took anything away from this video, it should be the following. Gatekeeping is mandatory. I've changed my mind. Gatekeeping is not only accessible, it is mandatory. All the gatekeepers report to my office in 10 minutes. Bring your torches and pitchforks. We're going to go hunt for posers, starting with whoever wrote this video. We're bringing back gatekeeping. That's it. I called Obama. We're bringing gatekeeping back. Me and Obama, we're doing it.